Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to Insight. There are uprising revolutions in North Africa and Middle East countries, and as well there are revolution and uprising in the Persian Gulf state, and we see a lot of the movement and a lot of the thing that it will be happening in these countries, and the color of this movement, it is different or no, it is unified. We want to discuss this matter with my honorable guest, Dr. Foad Ibrahim and Dr. Zayd Isa. Very welcome to our program. As you heard regarding the topic that we have in this program, I want to know, Dr. Foad Ibrahim, first by you, how do you categorize the uprising in the North Africa and Middle East countries? Are they unified in their requesting and asking matters, or there are different because they are different in the culture, differently from the point of the thing they are asking for?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The uprisings in the Middle East is unified in one goal, in a response to the dictatorship in the Middle East. But there are differences in terms of the dynamics and the approaches. We have different uprisings, one in Tunisia and one in Egypt. Maybe they are unified in terms that the society is more like unified towards one certain and a specific goal. But when it comes to Libya, in Yemen and Bahrain, there are differences. Although they all want a change, they want to see a democratic state, but the problem is that there are divisions, and this will help, and this helps the tyrants and the rulers.
You can define any classification for those uprising, or you can't giving a very exact term for that?
Well, actually, there are the main commonality between these uprisings is that they are all deeply rooted in Islamic awakening and Islamic culture, but maybe because of the differences within the society of each state, we cannot say that they are unified, because you see there are tribal divisions in Yemen, you have regional divisions in Libya, you have sectarian divisions in Bahrain, and this maybe will lead to prolonging the
we will go in details in this matter, but I want to ask Dr. Zayd Isa in this regard as well, what he thinking about this uprising, and this if there are any classification in this matter.
Right, I do believe that the wind of change that we are witnessing in the Middle East have actually started with the Iranian Revolution. That was 1979. That was the outset of those uprisings. But it has been actually stopped and it has been prevented from spreading by actually the USA and by the Saudi money in the region. Now, the popular uprisings we are witnessing, which started off with Tunisia and moved on to Egypt, they are could be described as a massive political earthquake. And what we're witnessing now in other countries like Yemen, like Bahrain and Libya, they are simply the violent tremors or aftershocks of this political earthquake. Now, they have one thing in common. All those people are basically revolting and standing up to dictators that have been there for 3 or 4 decades. What all those dictators have in common is the massive and huge USA support. Most of them are strong, staunch allies to the USA. If we look, for example, at Mubarak, he is, and Egypt, by the way, it was pivotal, it was a linchpin, and it was a cornerstone to this American strategy in the Middle East. Also, Zayn al-Abidin bin Ali was also a strong ally. If we look at Yemen, Saleh is also a staunch ally to the USA. And if we move to Bahrain, that's absolutely crucial to the USA. It's the home of the Fifth Fleet, and the USA do not want to lose all those dictators. They actually have supported them, they backed them to the hilt, and they protected them, and they played a major role in their survival by going out of the way to defend them and to maintain them for 3 decades or 4 decades. That's why the people in the region are fed up to the back teeth. They are sick and tired of those dictators, and that's why we can see that we had previously several uprisings in different regions. We had the Iraqi uprising, that was in 1991, which actually took place under the very eyes of the USA and the West. They were there on the ground, and they did absolutely nothing to help out the people. They did not lift a finger to help out the people when Saddam actually made an agreement in Safwan with the Americans, and they actually allowed him, gave him the permission to use his gunship helicopters. He used those to turn the tide against the protesters, against the uprising in Iraq. He used it to crush this uprising under the very eyes of the world. And we can see there the ultimate hypocrisy. They actually preach and encourage the people to stand up for the rights, to challenge the dictators. These are mere words. When it comes to action, the people have discovered that there is a stark contrast between what they preach and what they practice, because what they've done is simply prop up, defend and back those dictators to the hilt, supplying them with arms, supplying them also...
Dr. Zayd, if you allow me, I want to see the 0 point that the uprising it is started, because we want to describe how it is started, because very important. It was an unaccepted thing happening there. Even the Western not expecting something like this to be happening, and when it is started, everybody giving a different story regarding this matter. Somebody they saying it is came against the dictatorship. Somebody tells it is coming for better life, democracy. Somebody else mentioning it is awakening from the area regarding the Islam principle. We want to know the starting point of this uprising. Dr. Foad Ibrahim, first by you. What do you think the starting point of this uprising in whole area?
Well, the conditions of revolutions in the Middle East are similar. And maybe the starting point will be different from Tunisia to Egypt, Yemen, Bahrain. Maybe in Tunisia, the man who set himself on fire, Mohammed Yazidi, was the trigger for the uprising in Tunisia, and this leads to a series of revolutions in the Middle East. I think sometimes they talk about the socio-economic factor that plays the crucial role in the uprising, but in my view, this is only a part of the scene and the part of a picture. I think the factors of uprising are far more related to the socio-economic, the political, the cultural, the identity, and everything related to the dignity of the people. So it is a comprehensive package of.
If you just what I want to tell our viewers, it is regarding what is this package about, how the people of the Tunisia or people of the Egypt, when they started to uprising against the dictatorship, what was their motives for that action and that moments in the first place?
I think the main point and the major motive for the uprising in Tunisia and Egypt is closely associated with the dignity, identity, and freedoms of the people. Because it is, I know there are some media outlets concentrated on the socio-economic factor, but it is not. The Tunisian and Egyptian people revolted against the dictatorships in their countries because they want freedom. They want to live in a different world, in a different political system, and they want to express themselves in a different way, and so it is related to their identity, dignity, freedoms, and also this comes also with the socio-economic and cultural and other factors.
Dr. Zayd Isa, as you mentioned in previous question, the Western, they insist there are some color of the democracy and some type of the better life of them, and they not showing any color of the Islam in the uprising in the North Africa. And we saw in the Egypt and even in the Libya and Tunisia, Friday praying, it was the starting point for demonstration in those countries. How you give assessment regarding the method of the approach of the Western countries regarding the uprising in those countries?
Well, basically, we could say that what the West wants and what the West is seeing are totally different things. The West actually wants to maintain the status quo. They are after stability, and that's what I talked about. A stark contrast between what they preach, which is universal values of human rights, and what they actually apply and practice on the ground. Supported those regimes, those brutal, ruthless dictators, in order to maintain and preserve the stability. They went after stability, and they backed up those regimes because they believed that those regimes are the best bet to actually get this stability and maintain their strategic interests. Now, if we move on to the Islamic awakening, which has been there and actually a crucial factor, I do believe that the people in the Middle East have matured up, and they have learned from previous experiences when they came out and actually strongly showing their Islamic credentials. They were crushed without mercy. So we know that there is a strong underlying Islamic current behind those uprisings. But I do believe that the Islamists cleverly and shrewdly and deliberately have actually kept a low profile. They didn't want to take up a high profile, so that they give the West and they actually give those dictators the excuse to crush those popular uprisings. And we've seen Hosni Mubarak, we've seen Gaddafi, we've seen also Zayn al-Abidin bin Ali all coming out openly and publicly saying, that was Mubarak, that if I relinquish power, then this would simply play into the hands of the Islamists. It will plunge the country into deep crisis, it will plunge the country into further chaos, and the Islamists are going to take over. They're going